Some hauntings fade into legend. Others leave behind evidence, records, eyewitness testimonies, and photographs too disturbing to ignore. In the late 1970s, one ordinary family in North London found themselves at the center of one of the most infamous and well-documented poltergeist cases in history. This is the story of the Enfield Poltergeist. The year was 1977. The setting, Enfield, North London. More specifically, a modest council house on Green Street, occupied by Peggy Hodgson, a single mother, and her 4 children, Margaret, Janet, Johnny, and Billy. They lived a quiet, ordinary life. But everything changed on the evening of August 30th. That night would mark the beginning of a chilling series of events that would span more than a year. It began, as these stories often do, with a sound. A strange, rhythmic knocking. It came from the walls, the ceiling, seemingly from nowhere and everywhere all at once. At first, Peggy Hodgson believed it was a prank, kids being kids, nothing to worry about. But then the girls screamed. When Peggy rushed upstairs, she witnessed something that defied explanation. A heavy chest of drawers sliding across the room, moving slowly but deliberately, as though being pushed by unseen hands. When she tried to push it back, it refused to budge. Then came the knocking again, louder, more aggressive, and it didn't stop. The family fled the house in terror, seeking help from their neighbors. That night, the police were called. Among them was PC Carolyn Heaps. She searched the property thoroughly. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary until she saw it herself. A chair slid several feet across the living room floor. No one had touched it. Her official statement verified the event, but she could offer no explanation. Word spread quickly. The media descended on Green Street. Headlines questioned whether the house was truly haunted or if this was an elaborate prank. Either way, the public was fascinated. The Enfield case had become a national obsession. Soon, the Society for Psychical Research, known for investigating supernatural claims, sent 2 of its most experienced members to examine the case. Maurice Gross, a former inventor turned paranormal investigator, and Guy Lyon Playfair, a journalist and author, arrived at 284 Green Street expecting to find a simple case of mischief. What they found was anything but simple. Witnesses, neighbors, police, journalists began reporting the same things. Furniture thrown across rooms, toys flying through the air, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable knocking sounds. But the most terrifying phenomena all seemed to focus on one person. Janet Hodgson, just 11 years old, appeared to be the epicenter of the activity. She was frequently thrown from her bed. On multiple occasions, she was seen levitating, and perhaps most disturbingly, she would speak in a deep, gravelly voice, one that didn't seem to belong to her at all. The voice called itself Bill, and it claimed to be the ghost of a man who had died in the house years before.
Just before I died, I went blind. And then I had a hemorrhage. And I fell asleep. And I died in that chair.
Skeptics dismissed the voice as a ventriloquism trick. But when researchers traced the claim, they discovered a man named Bill Wilkins had indeed died in the house. His son later confirmed the details of his death, exactly as the voice had described. How Janet could have known this remained unanswered. Photographs from the period seemed to show Janet being lifted into the air, her body stiff, arms outstretched as though suspended. Critics argue she was simply jumping, and the photos caught her mid-leap. But others remain convinced. The raw emotion on her face, the sheer volume of witnesses. If it was a performance, it was a masterclass. Not everyone was convinced. Some accused the Hodgsons of faking the whole thing, perhaps to escape their difficult financial situation or to gain attention. In later interviews, Janet admitted to faking some incidents, but insisted the vast majority were real. Even Playfair, one of the chief investigators, acknowledged they had caught her trying to stage activity on occasion. But he also said, "You don't fake 2,000 unexplained events." Skeptics, meanwhile, point to poltergeist phenomena being linked to adolescent stress or emotional trauma, particularly in young girls. Perhaps this was a case of psychological disturbance, not the paranormal. But despite the debates, the case remains stubbornly unsolved. By 1979, the activity began to fade. Whether the entity left or simply went dormant is unknown. Eventually, the family moved on. Some reports indicate that subsequent occupants experienced unusual events, but these were not as significant as previous occurrences. To this day, 284 Green Street remains one of the most talked about haunted houses in Britain, a place that inspired books, documentaries, and even fictionalized portrayals in films like The Conjuring 2. It's a story that divides opinion, but those who lived through it are in little doubt. Was the Enfield Poltergeist real, a clever hoax, or something more complex, something between the worlds of psychology and the supernatural? One thing is certain: whatever happened inside that house left a mark. On the family, on the investigators, and on the cultural memory of a generation. And decades later, we're still talking about it. Thank you for joining us today. If you found this tale of the unexplained intriguing, share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing and pressing the bell icon. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your mind sharp. There are many more mysteries to uncover.